New book out this week called How to Massage Your Dog. Now you tell me exactly how much massage does an animal who can lick its own balls need? I think you know, when you're manging on your own sack, you are so far beyond shiatsu. They have psychiatrists for dogs now. You know, that in and of itself can screw up a dog. Hey, pal, am I allowed on the couch or am I not allowed up on the couch? Now, I don't want to get off on a rant here, and I wouldn't, but I can't help myself because, you see, I'm addicted to ranting, and I'm not responsible for my actions right now because I have what they call PCRS, pay cable rant syndrome. Somebody call Leslie Abramson and find me somebody to sue. Let's face it, folks, as far as therapeutic introspection goes, we've become a nation of such insufferably unbridled me-monkeys. Every hiccup of our psyche, every aberrant twinge of our consciousness, no matter how insignificant, has become a springboard for the kind of fervent discussion and speculation that used to be reserved for the Zapruder footage and the Sgt. Pepper album cover. It seems to me that we are on some mission to discover every deep-rooted reason for being unhappy. We employ sophisticated therapies that plumb the depths of our very psyches. The first thing it seems people have difficulty grasping is the simple premise that life often just is not fun, okay? I suppose it's encouraging to see people trying to make their lives better, even when there's such abject misery and suffering in the world that the pursuit of happiness seems oftentimes almost as tragic and futile a gesture as the loading of the ice-making machine onto the Titanic. Today, we spend more time on our therapist's couch than we do on our own 2 feet. Psychotherapists are now the sky caps of our emotional baggage, except they're getting $150 tips and putting our bags on a flight that never seems to land. We have 12-stepped over the line, people. I mean, back in ancient civilization, there was no psychoanalysis. The only treatment they had for depression was the plague. You knew why you were blue, because everybody on your fucking continent had just died. You know, I would put more faith in psychotherapy if it weren't so susceptible to every goofy trend that rolls down the mental health freeway. Let's look at some of the basic and not so basic options. Now, some people are so eager to Scotch guard themselves from taking personal responsibility, they conveniently blame the shit in their lives on the shit that supposedly happened to them in their past lives. Given the quality of American schooling, most people's knowledge of world history is so spotty that invariably they can only claim in their past lives to have been either Cleopatra or Bob Dole. Next, we have couples therapy. Now, the trick to picking a couples therapist is finding one who will side with you and not your wife. As any good shrink will tell you, there's no point in getting into counseling if you're not going to go in there and give it all and try to win, win, win. In group therapy, you get all the embittered losers together so that they have someone to talk to. Hey, isn't that called the back room at the post office? The practice of aromatherapy makes the claim that smelling certain essential oils can help you overcome anxiety, depression, and stress. The theory that exposure to pleasant fragrances helps create a happy mood gives a long way towards explaining why the French are so fucking cranky all the time. Then, of course, there's pharmaceutical therapy. It has been established for some time that drugs can have a tremendous effect on a person's mood. Many people at different times in their lives have experimented with drug therapy. It's just that the therapist was then some guy called Wiener that lived down the hall and carried a 4-finger bag of Sensimine in his tube sock. Listen, I'm all for psychotherapy. I have more unresolved guilt than Gil Garcetti's office. And, And I'd venture a guess that over the years, I've logged more frequent fetish miles than most of you. After extensive therapy, I have concluded that I have the worst edible complex in the history of psychoanalysis. I'm actually in love with Oedipus. Every summer, I go to Greece looking to sodomize an old blind Greek guy. In an age where science has triumphed over religion, psychotherapists become our shamans, our exorcists, and parent confessors. They are privy to our most intimate secrets, things we can't or won't tell lovers, families, or spouses. And in exchange for performing the distasteful task of rummaging through our rancid, cobwebbed, appallingly personal contents of our cranial dumpsters and tilting quixotically at the windmills of our minds, they charge us prices that are steeper than the heels on the artist formerly known as Prince's wedding pumps. So do you think you need therapy? Well, here are some warning signs that you may need a shrink. If your eyes look like Alicia Silverstone's at the Oscars. If you own Dark Side of the Moon on CD. If you walk out of Leaving Las Vegas with an extra kick in your step. And finally, if you're out on a date and you think everything is going well and you're talking and talking and laughing and laughing and smiling and your date turns to you and for what seems like no reason, she says, "You're not going to hurt me, are you?" You know, maybe we're not supposed to know the dark secrets of the self. Just accept the fact that the thought of being spanked with an empty Elmer's glue bottle turns you on. Accept it. Impulse is what keeps life interesting. Freudian peccadillos are not necessarily bad. Think about it. Centuries ago, some guy in Holland got off on the way wood felt on his feet. You know, the ocean of life is full of swells and not-so-swells, and you have to ride them out. You don't need Prozac because somebody flamed you in the X-Files chat room, okay? You don't need Zoloft because Darcel from Solid Gold never answered your fan letter. Your parents fucked you up. Get over it. Let it go. A parent's job is to prepare you for the rest of your life by fucking with your head. So you know, at the end of the day, what the big answer is to all this, the solution to the entire psychotherapeutic problem, well, what it is... I'm sorry, our time's up. We'll continue this next week. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.